up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. On this episode, there is something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. I needed to purchase something, but it just wasn't the right time due to all the mechanical issues I was having with the motor and yada yada yada. But I finally found a great deal on what I'm looking for, and today I'm ready to install it. But I got to install it with a few other things as well to get the function I want to work. So with this little modification and the inputs and outputs and everything on Holly, I'm gonna have two-step again, but I'm gonna have it hooked up to this item that we're gonna install. Let me show it to you. Oh yeah, look at that. Got me a new steering wheel. Believe it or not, your boy was gonna do wood grain. I was gonna do something super colorful, but I ended up deciding to get this one for two reasons. For one, I needed a button on the left-hand side of the steering wheel because when I do my two-step, I want to use my right hand for the parking brake. And then for two, look at it. I mean, it's name brand, it's not NRG, it's not some knockoff deal. This steering wheel is almost like a $300 steering wheel, but I got it used, but it was in absolute excellent shape. It's got kind of like a two-tone Alcantara with that leather. That's what the backside looked like. It's got two wires to both buttons. I'm also gonna use this. It's just an eBay 240 hub steering wheel. It was a little too small, so I had to get a spacer, which I got the space from NRG. As you can tell from all the bolt holes, it's super duper universal. And I drilled a hole in this steering wheel adapter to accommodate this. That's right, I got a cell phone cable or a house phone cable. So I got this house phone cable, AKA coil cord, from this company here. I don't even know the name of it. I'll call them Contender Performance Product with that part number. And what this thing is designed to do is when you mount like a button or wire something up on the steering wheel, well, guess what? When you turn the steering wheel, the wire is just gonna pull right out of it. This right here is designed to be able to wrap around the steering wheel, kind of have somewhat of a stealthy type of look. So that's why I decided it. Just first appearance, man, the construction of it is super durable, it's super stretchy, and we just got to figure out how we want to, so let's get started. I ended up having to pull out the puller in order to pull this off. Let's see if I can do it by hand. It shouldn't be that daggone tight. Booyah! Or AKA, bloop. That mug is loose. Real quick, with all these daggone holes, as you can tell, the Sparco steering wheel is got 6 bolts. So the 6 bolts are gonna go in like these little small holes. So I gotta make sure that one of these holes, which is this top hole, needs to line up with my mark that goes straight up. And just in case you're using this NRG adapter, which I wanna say it's like a 1/2 inch, 1 inch spacer, I'm using the threaded bolt hole to the right of one of these screws. Yeah, test fit, I think that looks good. I got plenty of wire going inside of this deal that's gonna have to be hidden when I put the steering wheel on. Then I got the long section that's gonna come out. That means that the long section will be the only section kind of swiveling around the back side of this hub. But now I'm ready to take this off, and it's time to do some wiring. It's time to do some securing, which I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a zip tie here and on the back side so it don't pull back and forth. I think I can get away with using some basic old spade connectors, male and females. So let's go ahead and use our strippers, these joints here, and let's go ahead and wire this thing up. We need to do the same thing to the back of the steering wheel. Probably about right, yeah. Yeah, I don't think that's going nowhere. It looks good. And also, when you do stuff like this, like wiring, well, basically, yeah, when you do wiring, man, you need to like really think out what you're doing. And what I'm talking about as far as thinking out is once the steering wheel is secure, I can disconnect the steering wheel like this. But if I want to pull this harness out, I can make it where it's a connection here, or I can make it where it's gonna go all the way over to where my junction box is on the passenger side. So in my case, I'm just gonna strip this stuff back. I'm gonna solder it onto here, tape it up real nice, put a piece of heat shrink over to keep this section, keep these two joints right here solid, and then we'll snake the other end over to the passenger side. When it comes to heat shrink, man, you always can find like little packages like this that are super affordable. Obviously I got this one off of Amazon. These cats here is Milla Peak. So you want to check them out on Amazon, check them out on Facebook, or you can actually go to their website. They put together this nice little convenient kit. Everything for the most part is already cut the length, unless you want to cut it up a little smaller. They got rubber bands on it. And you know, stuff like this for me go a long ways, man. You know, dear congratulations client, you know what I'm saying? If you got any questions, hit us up. Little stuff like this, man, go a long ways. It's hard to find good customer service nowadays, but you can count on Kate. The dad gonna say something to make you smile. Rumor is that this husky box, man, rumor is this is Amish wood. So I got some Amish wood up at my house. Oh yeah, look at that steering wheel, man. I'm serious, man. This is like a big move for me. Now we're ready to snake this up behind the dash somewhere and then over there somewhere. Hey, and a little trick for snaking wires across or through little small things. All you need is a clothes hanger and use some tape. Take the wires and tape the two wires together, and then basically tape it to the end of that and snake it to where you want. So if you are not familiar with the Holly, this computer is the best computer on the face of the planet, period. By the way, they just bought out MSD and AM. Congratulations, Papadakis. But this thing comes with this bundle of wires here. I want to say all of these are inputs and outputs. It's all on like one plug. You know, I like to label my stuff with blue tape and neat handwriting so you know which wire is which. But once again, this is the white with the red stripe. And all we need to do is hook one wire up to this one, which is already hooked up from my previous setup. And then the other end of this wire here, whichever color I decide to use, the other one is gonna be a ground, and I'll probably stick that ground right where the old ground used to be at. So I think that much stretch right there is just enough. I think that's just enough stretch right there. So now that we have the steering wheel installed, I have confirmed off camera that the button works, but we'll show that to you when it's not raining and I'm done with the second part of what I want to accomplish today, and that is installing a transmission pressure switch. I got a 0 to 300 pressure switch off of eBay. I think we talked about it in the last episode. I don't know if I can use this pigtail, so I got some extra pigtails from Low Dollar Motorsports, and we're gonna see if we can install this and wire this up. That's the port for wherever you want to diagnose or test pressures or whatever. That's the port we need to use. But let's go ahead and get the right socket or right crescent wrench and remove that and install that one. So thanks to Low Dollar Motorsports, all you gotta do is go to their website. They tell you the configuration of the pigtail. And like I said, this pigtail came with a few sensors that I've already purchased from them. But if you want that 3-pin connector, that's the part number. And you can't beat that price, $4. But like I said, he also puts in the reference. So that lets us know exactly what pins go to what. And that diagram is basically like looking at it like this. All right, guys, I had an issue with my O2 sensor being extremely too close to the exhaust housing on the turbo. This is normally the turbo. I had my O2 bungs there. We already know that I have replaced the sensor already once, and that's due to the fact that the oxygen sensor is way too close to where the heat is, which is from the turbo. So I went ahead and welded another O2 bung on. This is on the downpipe portion, the portion that goes underneath the car and out the back. I want to say it's supposed to be like 4 feet, or either way, this is a good enough amount of distance to hopefully not burn up this sensor. So we're gonna go ahead and put this back on, but we're also gonna change out the spark plugs while we got the downpipe off. All right, after maybe what, 400 or 500 miles or so, let me show you what the spark plugs look like. They're super sooted up and super black. I think it could be a combination of reasons. I don't think it's running too rich. I do need to tighten up a few parameters in boost. I had it like 11, actually like 11.3 in boost, 9 to 10 pounds. Some people say I ought to lean it out a little bit more, but I know like 11.5 is like a good number. But the other reason I think this might be sooted up is, I don't know if you remember, but I'm using a BR7EF. So this is actually 2 steps colder than factory. Everybody says for medium boost to run these. These are the NGK V powers. These are the TR66. Part number you're gonna actually need is 4177. This is actually heat range 6. So I think I'm gonna throw these in this time, and then maybe do a few pulls on the street, pull a plug out, and then check our total timing on the curve here. I forget what I got them at, but let me get my gapper real quick and I'll let you know. You probably can't tell, but it looks like 18 feeler gauge. It's pretty tight in there. So I'm gonna double check what I did, but to be honest with you, if that's what my old ones were and it worked for me, when I say old ones, actually, you know what? I got some old TR6s. I didn't have no breakup issues with those. Let me check them. Actually, my old TR6s are actually like 28,000. So I think that's what I'm gonna go with. And then before I put my TR66s in, I like to put a little dab of anti-seize on the threads. And it's something I learned from my boy Josh over at Underground Racings. Take a Sharpie marker and actually write down which cylinder it comes for. So since we're working on the passenger side banks, those are gonna be the odd banks. So that'll be 2, 4, 6, 8. And not having them chicken pox hand writing, man, go a long ways too, or the chicken scratch, whatever it's called. Also, since we have burnt up our second O2 sensor, I want to take a moment and tell you what I'm going to attempt to do. This is kind of ghetto, but I don't care. Man, if you go to the local junkyard, you can find a bunch of vehicles that actually have a factory wideband, actually factory 4.9. You can look on the side of it and see the part number on the sensor. This one don't got one. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna strip the wires back and I'm gonna wire these wires in, and I'm gonna see if this one's a good one. Cause I snatched this one from, I wanna say it's like a V6 Cadillac, non-twin turbo. So let's see if this works. All right, the one oxygen sensor that I got before, they didn't have in stock. So this time I did a little bit more research. I found a 17321. The only difference was the cable was a little bit shorter and the insulation on the outside was blue instead of black. See, we got an AFR working again. Right there. So now I gotta adjust my IAC control. It's at 0. It should be, I think, between like 5 and 15. So I'm gonna have to adjust that real quick. The way I adjust mine, I open up the throttle blade and I use my needle noses. And I use the needle nose to clamp down on a T15. So what I like to do is grab something, open it, because this mug is hot. And what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go counterclockwise. Let's see what that does. That's after our adjustment. About 9-80%. Let's see what it is when I put it into gear. I'm gonna go with it. All right, guys and gals, After installing the pressure switch, I set up the calibration in the computer, and guess what? The Amazon pressure switch did not freaking work. So I'm going to probably purchase a 0 to 300 PSI pressure switch from Low Dollar Motorsports. I should have did it from the beginning. I thought the switch was going, to be honest with you, I thought the switch was like 75 bucks or something, but when I went back and looked, I think it's like $35, which is like another 10, 15 above what the Amazon one was. So I should have did that in the first place. So sometimes it's okay to cheap out on stuff. Sometimes you might as well go to Low Dollar Motorsports. And also, I didn't get a chance to show you guys the two-step, so we're going to do that now.
Monkey.
Hey, and I also want to apologize in advance for exposing all of my Miami Vice-ness that's going on. Some of y'all may like it, some of y'all may want to, but hey, I'm trying to even out my daggone tan. But as you can see, I did the two-step or anti-lag or whatever you want to call it. I did it at 3 different RPMs. And just in case you haven't seen my previous episode or you don't know how I went about doing it, there's a way that you can, when you hit the button, it can manually, or the transmission can basically manually go into the gear that you have it in. So what I do is I put it in the third, I hit the button, and it goes from 1 straight to 3. And with that happening, with the rev limit set at 2,000, 3,000, or 3,500, it puts enough load on the motor that it generates boost. As you can tell also from doing the two-step on the anti-lag, you didn't see any flames. You didn't get a bunch of popping and banging. I know a lot of people like that stuff and it look cool, but on the other side of things, it's not good. It's not good for your valve train. It's not good for your valves. It's not good for your turbo. It's not good for your exhaust manifolds. And then in the LS world, a lot of people use bellows, which is like a flex section, so that you can join bank 1 and bank 2 up as far as piping for the turbo manifold. A lot of time it'll blow the bellow out. I mean, you got to think about it. You're hitting anti-lag, and what's happening is you getting fire built up in the exhaust manifold that is going through the turbo, it's going through the turbine wheel, and then it's coming out the exhaust. So you can just imagine how detrimental that could be to all of those components. So the way I did it, I like it. It works. And I can't wait to take it to the track. So I think I'm gonna conclude the video here. Stay tuned. We're still doing stuff on Jose's car. And as you can tell over there, I got a downpipe. I'm a little behind on content, but your boy stay busy. So if you like this content, you wanna see more of big motors inside of small Japanese cars, and you like MK4, MK4 stuff, hit the like button, comment below what you want to see, what you like, if you have any questions, and I'll be happy to answer them. And check him out too. So we'll check you on the next episode.